My name is Abrandon Johnson, and I grew up living in these Gate City projects in Birmingham, Alabama. I would go to this church in Bessemer, Alabama, and since we would have to drive all the way from Birmingham to Bessemer, I ended up living in Bessemer in these projects at 2703 Dartmouth Avenue, Dartmouth Avenue, and then I would still go to this church right here in Bessemer and I would learn a lot about God and the angels. I ended up living in some more projects in Birmingham in a place called Illiton Village, and they said I was in a car accident. They got some insurance money and bought this house. And they said I was supposed to be able to spend the money on what I wanted to, but they ain't do that. They let a dude named Aldrin Johnson decide what neighborhood I was gonna live in. And then they gave Willie Johnson a loan and gave him a car, this Lincoln Mark 8 car. I started working when I was 13 and saved up my own money and had to buy me this Dodge Fifth Avenue because my girlfriend got molested and abused because I wasn't able to pick her up from school because they gave Willie Johnson a car instead of Brandon Johnson, even though the court said it was my money to spend on me. My girlfriend grew up like one of them R. Kelly girls. She ain't have nothing but a pair of sweatpants and a shirt because she said this dude named Jeremy Williams had threatened to kill her and me, and he had been molesting her and getting her raped and abused in a sexual way in the neighborhood. At first, I couldn't believe it until I looked it up online, and then when I read about it on the website, it was a whole story talking about how he went to jail for murder and how he was 20 some years old and got caught with like a 15-year-old girl with him, and my wife was the same age as that girl. I think her name was ARETHA Harris. It said she was 15 in the Birmingham homicide articles. And I was like, dang, if a 23-year-old man, if a 24-year-old man hanging with a 15-year-old girl, I guess my wife was getting molested and abused. She said they had her doing incest and stuff with her brothers and other grown men in the neighborhood. And she said they was working with them R. Kelly type people, and they had a bunch of R. Kelly CDs around the house, and they tried to make me do it. And I was like, it was just so sad because if it was my girlfriend, you know, I planned on getting married to her, and I'm like, I gotta get her out this neighborhood with these rapists and murderers and child molesters and child abusers. Because when you can look online on the website and clearly see that she was telling the truth, I'm like, she ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. Because if grown men is raping and molesting 15-year-old girls, and when I look at the picture of her baby picture and think about how innocent and sweet she is and how she grew up as a child, and they said they started molesting her when she was 5, and then they had these people that call themselves her brothers. I felt real bad that they gave Willie Johnson this Lincoln Mark 8 car and that I wasn't there to be there for my girlfriend when she was 14 years old and I was 16. I didn't get no car for my sweet 16 because Willie Johnson was given a car with my money, but he was supposed to be a grown man. But, you know, it was messed up in that Ensley, Alabama, Birmingham neighborhood because grown men, just like Jeremy Williams, as you can see, was a convicted murderer that got caught with a 15-year-old girl. You can look it up on the website. He was convicted of murder in the year 2006. I had to leave the state because the Williams family, my wife family, Apryl Williams family, they already went buying her no clothes, and I had to buy all her school clothes and take her to school every day. They threatened to kill me because they said they was a blood family, and they accused me of having a blue car and saying I was a crip or something. So I would make this little tape recorder and have this Fostex 8-track recorder and this Casio keyboard, this WK 1800 model, and I would just make music and make songs and productions, and I called it Trill Dog Productions because I was just a schoolboy myself, and that's where I met my wife at Ensley High School in the year 2000. And they kicked me out of school and sent me to this Mount Meigs juvenile prison place. and had me stay there till I was over 18. So I got this 1990 Jeep Cherokee Laredo, and I went back to my girlfriend's house because all I could do was think about how Jeremy was supposed to kill us, and the blood said they was gonna kill us because they said it was a blood family. And I felt so bad that I would try to take her to school every day and be there to help her get the bumps and the germs off her face. She would wear this face cream that I would try to help her get her skin clean because from all of the sexual abuse, I would be there every day after school, whether rain or shine, with the umbrella, waiting on her to get out of school to make sure nobody didn't molest her. And just like a single mother, I was working two jobs and going to school. I was working at this America's thrift store, going to Virginia College, and I had to work at this place called the Parker Group in Homewood, and I ended up helping her get a job at that place, and she worked at the Parker Group with me. I saved up my money, got some wedding rings, and on April 30th, 2004, I got a marriage license because she begged me to marry her and get her out the house. And when she was so happy when she got the marriage license, so people will know that she was married to me because her family was doing that R. Kelly mess and trying to make her fuck grown men and people named John and TJ and Robert. So I moved to a city called Warrior, Alabama, in these Cane Creek apartments. And I told her she didn't have to work because I was working at this gas station called a Fusee. And even though I was working there, I would go to Birmingham a lot because I had two children when I was living there. Lord Gerald Johnson, as you can see in this picture, and Yatrell Johnson, as you can see in this picture. And they just kept teasing us, saying that she had kids with her brother and other people, but I ain't worried about it. I would go to this place in Eastlake, Alabama called A Day's Work, and I would be driving my Jeep. And since I had to go to Birmingham so much for work, I ended up living at 6th Street in Birmingham. And I went to this church called New Salem Church in North Birmingham. And, it was a court case on the children because they kept on saying messed up stuff about my family and my wife. And so I was working at this Piggly Wiggly with my wife and going to this Emmanuel Temple Church. And with all of the art and everything that my wife was doing, I began to think about my family in the court case. And I was like, with all of these Trill Dog productions, I need to do something more. So I saved up some more money and I went and bought some clothes and tried to get her some more items because, nobody would ever give her anything and wouldn't buy her nothing. So while I was putting together my own business, Trill Dog Productions, the same business that I was working on since high school, I had came up with Danger Fam Records, with all of my recordings. I would keep records of everything that I would do. And I would heavily think on my mind. I would be so stressed out with all of the rape and molestation and abuse. Sometimes I wouldn't even want to show my face and wear these glasses a lot because I actually wear glasses. So I ended up moving to this Westbury neighborhood in Birmingham. And it was in the Ensley neighborhood. And I would call the children and call to that pink house to try to find out why would they have my children in the first place. So I ended up buying this car for cash money. It was a Crown Victoria. And I would take the children like to the mall and buy them clothes. Like I bought that dress that girl wearing in the picture right now. And I would go up to the school, as you can see, and meet up with them. I would keep copies of their school pictures and I would keep copies of all of our pictures. I would even keep the copies of the baby pictures from me and my wife. Like you can see the pictures here when I would keep copies of her pictures because, she would like photos and pictures and I would like them too because like she would like that I'm artistic. So I ended up leaving the state again because, they said I can't never get the children back. And it was for no reason. It was like, it was illegal because no crimes were committed by me. It wasn't any rape, child abuse, or child molestation or any family violence that I ever did. So, I left the state and would make sure to send Yolanda Johnson. She said she's my mom, so I would send her money because I wanted her to feel like a mom if she, felt like she was my mom. And, I would try to smile in the pictures and, at least make it seem like I'm happy. But I would be stressed a lot. But I would keep that girl smiling, as you can see, and I would make sure that she would have something to feel good about. Because if a person said they was your brother and they was raping you and molesting you, and people was saying that they was getting you pregnant and having children with you ever since high school, and they wouldn't buy you no clothes or nothing, then I would just try to be a goofball and keep this girl smiling and make colorful art and keep her happy, because I would go on a lot of different trips, traveling, doing soul searching, because I was molested and I was abused as a child and raped myself, being sent to all them juvenile facilities and having my money stole, even though I had a GED, a high school equivalency, when I was 16, and I married April on April 30th, 2004, because I do believe in the love and marriage bond of God. So since she was 18 at the age of 18 on April 30th, 2004, I tried to do it as soon as I could. And I would call and go and visit the children. As you can see me calling and visiting the children in these photos. And when I would go and see them, they would attack me and try to lock me up every time I went down there. And so, my wife would always encourage me to smile, because she would be like, life has been so painful and so abusive to both of us. As you can see in the pictures, she would be very sad and feel bad that they was making us go to a courthouse, or would tell us that I gotta come all the way to Alabama just to see my children, even though the court said I had unsupervised visitation and it was supposed to happen in the state that I stay in the house that I lived in. So, I would go to my mental health appointments to deal with my depression at River Edge. As you can see in the picture, I was there. So I would go to the River Edge mental health doctor, because being a rape victim, a molestation victim, and having a wife that is also a rape and molestation victim, I would have a lot of things in common with her. And I would try to just eat healthy, focus on my diet, try to be a better person. I would cut my own hair and try to be clean, neat, decent, and appropriate. And, I would try to wear my glasses whenever they didn't steal and break my glasses, because, somebody stole my glasses, so I ain't got none right now. And I would work on my Trill Dog productions, so that at least my children and my family would know that I wasn't wasting time and that I was doing something constructive in the community by sharing my truth of how I am a survivor of rape and molestation and abuse, and how my wife is a survivor of rape, molestation, and abuse. And I don't understand why people would treat me and my wife the way that they did, but with everything that happened, I have a message on today. For all of the victims of rape, molestation, abuse, and just being treated the wrong way, you don't have to feel bad because somebody raped or molested you. The person that raped and molested you is the one that should feel bad, because that is the person that did wrong. I don't have to feel bad because somebody raped and molested me. The person that raped and molested me should feel bad, because the person that raped and molested me is the person that raped and molested me. And I never asked to be raped or molested or abused. You don't have to be my friend in order for me to be your friend. Never let bad people make you into a bitter person, because you can always strive to be a better person. They say I have a lot of girlfriends, or they say a lot of girls consider me their boyfriend. And the reason why they say that is because a girl does not have to be my wife or be my girlfriend in order for me to be a boy that is her friend. Because a lot of people are mean to me but I am nice to them. So just because a girl is not being a friend to me does not mean that I am not a boy that has been a friend to her. So I have been a boy that has been very friendly to a lot of people. So I want people to know that just because someone is not my friend does not mean I am not their friend. I am a friend to a lot of people that have not been a friend to me. So I would like for everyone to be thankful for God because God is love, and be thankful for love because the spirit of love is the spirit of God. I am not God, but I do believe I possess the spirit of love. So I believe I have the spirit of God inside of me. As the Bible says, the kingdom of heaven is inside of you. And the thing about love is this: a person that loves you would not tell you to go to a place where they know you will be attacked, accused, abused, and it keeps happening every time you go there. So, in the family court of Jefferson County, when it comes to the children, Yatrell Johnson, Lord Gerald Johnson, and Trinity Johnson, there was a court order saying that Abrandon Johnson and Apryl Williams was supposed to have visitation unsupervised because the court trusts Apryl Williams and Abrandon Johnson unsupervised with no one else watching us with our children, because the court says that Yatrell Johnson, Trinity Johnson, and Yatrell Johnson are our children. And by our, I mean Apryl Williams and Abrandon Johnson's children. And everyone knows that just like when a couple is not married, since I am married, when a couple is not married, they always say the children have to go with their dad. It's his weekend with the children. Keyword, go with their dad. They have to go to his house where he lives, even if it's in another state. Like when those couples are divorced and they live in separate states, since I am married, it's different for me because I actually live in the same state. So when those couples are divorced, sometimes you hear people saying, oh, they have to go with their dad for the summer. It's his summer with the kids, or it's his weekend with the kids. They have to go to his house when there's a dad. And since my children are listed as my children and I am their dad, people have been violating my children in the court order ever since the year of 2014, because my children have not been allowed to go with me, their dad, to Georgia where I live, because I have not been allowed to receive my weekend with the children, my summers with the children, and my holidays and birthdays with the children ever since the year of 2014. So it is not because I have abandoned or neglected or ever stopped loving or caring about my marriage and my children, because I think it is wrong if a divorced couple or a couple that was never married gets to have a weekend with the children or summers with the children in whatever state that they live in, even if it's states apart. But if I live in Georgia and Alabama is right next to Georgia, there is no excuse for why a Brandon Johnson and Apryl Williams has not even had one weekend with the children when a Brandon Johnson has been arrested and accused of crimes and attacked multiple times since 2014 for going to Alabama to see the children, and I don't even have a car. But if they have cars and they have transportation, love is a two-way street. It is not me, Abrandon Johnson and Apryl Williams. It is not our responsibility to be the ones that have to go to Alabama to see the children, because the court order says that the children are supposed to come to where I am to see me. And I asked for my visitation, and I still request my visitation, and I have not given up on my family or my children. So those people are in contempt of court and have been violating the court order since the year 2014, because they have been trying to set me up. Each time I've went to go and visit the children, I have been attacked by people that call themselves my friend and family, and I was not allowed to receive my court-ordered visitation, because unless I came back to Georgia and the children came with me to where I live, that means I did not have my legally court-ordered visitation since 2014, with those records showing that I was arrested in Birmingham and in Alabama is proof and evidence that I did go to Alabama to visit my children and was denied visitation, not by the court, but by people that violated the court order and stopped me and my wife from receiving our legally entitled visitation in the state of Georgia with our children, because my children should be allowed to come to Georgia for their visitation, because there's a such thing as children's rights and there's a such thing as parental rights in the family court and in the state of Alabama. And just like if a couple was divorced, the children would have to go and spend their weekend with the dad or their summers with the dad in whatever city or state he lives in. A married couple should receive the same rights, if not even more rights, than a divorced couple. It is unfair that a divorced couple or a couple that was never married can see their children in the state where they live in, and the children would have to travel from state to state. But if a couple is married, like Abrandon Johnson and Apryl Williams, I am married, I have been denied my visitation. Now, the court said that the visitation is unsupervised. The court said that the court trusts Apryl and Abrandon to see our children, and the court said the children are supposed to visit in my household, in my home where I live. Now, I have been living in hotels in Georgia ever since the year of 2014. When a family goes to Six Flags or goes to Disney World or goes to a theme park or goes out of town for vacations, trips, and holidays, don't those children and families live in hotels while they're out of town? And if it's just for a visitation, how are the children not allowed to visit me at my hotel? A hotel has a business license, which means that it has already been inspected by the state and local government and passed inspection. So since there is already legal approval of the state certified, locally licensed business establishment that I live in, which is a hotel in Macon City, Georgia, I have been illegally denied my visitation unsupervised ever since the year 2014. It's not right to do that, because every day in the hotels that I live in, I see families and children that are here from out of town visiting. And I'm wondering, why are my children never here from out of town visiting, when there's a court order saying that the children are supposed to be receiving regular visits with us in the state of Georgia? Because the family court of Birmingham, Jefferson County says the visitations are supposed to take place Just like with any couple, whether you're divorced, whether you're married, whether you're separated, or whether you're just a mom and a dad that had children, the children are supposed to be allowed to visit in both households. And if one of the people or both of the peoples just so happen to live in another state, the children are supposed to visit in that other state. And there is evidence from police reports that Abrandon Johnson has been to Alabama to see the children, but people outside of the court tried to stop me from seeing the children because visitation only counts as legal visitation if it took place in the state of Georgia where I live. Do you understand? So I'm not the one to press charges, and I'm not the one to file police reports, because I don't like when people file charges and make police reports about me. But I just don't understand why people that call themselves family and friends would try to stop me from being family and friends with my own children. But it's just my job to be the love. So it's not because of me that you don't see me with the children in Georgia. And it's not because of me that you don't see my wife with the children in Georgia, because I filed a whole bunch of court papers and went to every court date all the way up to the last court date. And I never lost my parental rights, and I never adopted the children to anyone else. And I never plan on doing any of those illegal activities that those other people are doing. I've never been accused of child abuse or child molestation or any kind of sexual assault or neglect. It was simply a best interest in need of supervision court case because my wife was living in a state, in a neighborhood where a guy named Jeremy Williams and his family, which is the same family that said they were her family, threatened to kill me and my wife and hurt our children. And you can clearly see when you have a convicted murderer that was caught with an underage teenage girl, that 15-year-old girl, Aretha Harris, got a life sentence for being associated with Jeremy Williams. Me and my wife did not want to get a life sentence by claiming any association to people like Jeremy Williams. So Abrandon Johnson and his wife left the state of Alabama and came to Georgia because it's not made up. The girl did not want to live around murderers and child molesters because she did not want to end up like those other girls serving a life sentence in jail related to murder. So when there's a murderer living in your house that was molesting children and getting other children locked up for life sentences, no one is supposed to stay in those areas or live around those people. Not if they care about the safety and well-being of themselves and their children and the others that they love and care about. So that is why I came to Georgia, because my wife wanted to get out of harm's way. Because when a guy is actually convicted of murder and a guy has actually molested you and your friends, you have to take those claims and charges in crime seriously. So me and my wife are married, living in the state of Georgia, wondering why every day I see people visiting from out of town in these hotels and establishments that I live in that are locally licensed, state inspected, and already approved for visitation of any family from any state. Why are my children not being allowed to visit if the court order says that visitation is ordered unsupervised and no one can stop it? They broke the law. The people that have not allowed my children to come to Georgia broke the law. Because all of those times that I went to Birmingham, I proved that I cared about my children and that my children were worth traveling for. They were worth going to jail for. They were worth getting fought, beat up, and attacked for. And the reason why I was fought, beat up, and attacked when I went to see my children is because those people have an incest frame of mind where they are saying that my children are their children, and they are saying that they want me and my wife to have sex with them and be part of an incest group sex religion of practices that I just don't believe in. Because when you read the Bible, God did not tell Abraham to have children with the handmaid. Abraham's wife told him that. And Abraham's wife is not God. I believe in God first. You understand? When you read the Bible, God did not tell Jacob to be married to Rachel and Leah and to make a deal with Laban to voluntarily say that he would work for 7 years to have another wife after he was married. That's some stuff that Jacob and Laban and those girls did. It was not God that instructed them to do that. And when you read those Bible stories about Solomon and like 1,000 women that he supposedly slept with, God did not tell Solomon to have 1,000 wives or concubines. It's something that Solomon did on his own. God did not tell them to do that. And when you read the story about David and Uriah and how David stole Uriah's wife, God did not tell David to steal Uriah's wife. That is a crime that David committed. So just because people do stuff in the Bible does not mean that God told them to do it. Because just like the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not bear false witness. Most of those Bible commandments and stories are about what you should not do. Keyword, should not do. In most of those Bible stories, just like Adam and Eve, when God told them not to eat from a certain tree, most of those Bible stories are the same story from a different angle. God tells people not to do certain activities, and the people broke the rules and did it anyway, and bad stuff happened because people did stuff that God told them not to do. So you can't let those false teachers and false preachers that just want to have sex with you and everybody else tell you stuff like people had different wives and different stuff in the Bible and all of that stuff, and God let them do that. No, God had nothing to do with it, because Cain killed Abel in the Bible. God didn't tell Cain to kill Abel. So just because people did stuff in the Bible is a book that gives you an example of why you are not supposed to do certain activities, because it tells a story of God telling people not to do something, and then the people do it anyway, what God told them not to do. And then the people are punished and destroyed and killed and murdered and hurt for doing stuff that God told them not to do. And you're supposed to read those books and learn from their mistakes. You're not supposed to actually go out in real life and try to be those people and make the same mistakes that they made. Because the point of those stories is so that you don't make the same mistakes that they made, because there are already stories about people that made those mistakes before. And that's what those stories are about. Or at least that's what I believe. So yeah, I want everyone to understand that it's not because of me that those children are not here. And it's not because of me that children have been human trafficked, raped, molested, abused, and accused. Because I myself am a child that was raped, molested, abused, and accused when there was never a victim that ever said I did anything wrong to them. Ever since I was 12 years old, there was supposed to be money in a trust fund account for me. And like I told you earlier, they asked Aldwin Johnson and Willie Johnson what they wanted to do with my money, and I was not allowed to get any of the items or live where I wanted to live or spend the money on what I wanted to spend it on. I never got my sweet 16 car for my birthday like those girls do on TV, and my girlfriend got molested when I was 16 and sexually abused because when I was 16, my girlfriend was 14, and I was not able to be there for her because I did not have a car, because Willie Johnson was given a car with the money that was supposed to be spent on me to get what I wanted. They specifically said with the trust fund, the money was supposed to go for Abrandon Johnson to get what Abrandon Johnson wanted, not for Aldwin Johnson to live where he wanted to live, not for Willie Johnson to get the kind of car that Willie Johnson wanted to drive, but they said that money was for me. But I never pressed charges. I never tried to kill Aldwin Johnson, Yolanda Johnson, or Willie Johnson, even though they all abused me and abused my money and used me for a Social Security check. Because at the age of 14, I was in a juvenile facility and they said that I was getting a Social Security check since the 1990s. But how can a Social Security check be being spent on Abrandon Johnson if I was locked up in the Alabama Department of Youth Services at a boot camp when I was 14 and 15 years old, at a group home when I was 16, and I got my GED at Gaston State Community College, and I was locked up at Mount Meigs, a juvenile prison detention center, when I was 17 all the way until after I was 18. How could those Social Security checks and trust fund money have been being spent on me if I wasn't even in the household, because they had me locked up somewhere while they was spending my money on other people? And that's how my girlfriend got molested, because they did not care about me and what I wanted to do, because they were abusing me because I was a child and was not able to defend myself against those grown people and those adults and adulterers that were abusing me, because they don't believe in God or the religion that I believe in, and they believed in doing what they want. And so they did what they wanted to do, which was use, abuse, and accuse me while spending my money. And a bad thing happened because of that. When I was 18 years old, I was so traumatized, used and abused and accused, that when I heard that my wife had got molested and raped and abused at the age of 14 when I wasn't there, I had tried to make sure that I would be there to take her to school and pick her up from school every day. When I was 18 years old, I called 2501 20th Street, Ensley, to that pink house and said, hey, I need some of the money out of my trust fund because I need to pick my girlfriend up from school. People be chasing her and trying to rape and molest her in the street because these people crazy, and I don't want nothing bad to happen to her. I was told, no, you can't have none of your money. Fuck you. I was literally cussed out on the phone. That's what I was told. They said, fuck you. You ain't getting shit, and hung up in my face. I felt so bad and so confused and so afraid and scared that they would rape and abuse my wife, and she had already been being molested and abused by these Jeremy Williams type of people that were known murderers, convicted murderers, and gang members. That I snatched the first purse in a panic attack that I seen and turned around and gave the lady her purse back. The police ran and locked me up anyway, even though I didn't take that lady money, because it was $30 in that purse. And that lady still had her $30. And I never spent a dime of her money. So when I went to court, that lady said she didn't want me to go to prison. She didn't even want me to be locked up. That she didn't even want to press charges on me. That the state did that. That other people did that. And that it really wasn't the state. It was just the attorney for the state. She said that they had looked into my account and seen that I had money in a trust fund. So they only pressed the charge against me so that they can make me pay restitution and they can collect money out of my trust fund that I had. And they made me pay hundreds and thousands of dollars, I believe, in order to, just make free money off of me. Because how did I steal anyone's money if I never spent the dime of that money and the lady had her $30 the whole time because I never even left the property with it? But they said it was still the property and put it on my record anyway. But I feel bad. I shouldn't have did that. But I tell you what's not a crime. Asking for money out of my trust fund so that my girlfriend won't get raped and molested coming home from school is not a crime. Me saying that I didn't want my girlfriend to get raped and molested again when she already told me that it happened, and when both of us came from an incest family where they would try to make me have sex with some girl named Tay Tay or Angela, and where they would try to make her have sex with some dude named Aaron or German or Jeremy, whatever their name is. I totally understand growing up that way because they did the same stuff in my family. I was at this lady named Helen Davidson house, and it was this dude named Antonio that be sitting in front of the church, and this girl named Angela that they called Tay Tay, and they was performing sexual activity with each other. And I said, hey, what is they doing? What is they doing? Why they doing that? And all of the people in the living room, it was this lady named Sean, this lady named Helen, this lady named Miley, and this other lady that was in there. And they said they just playing. They was on top of each other, grinding and hunching and moving in a sexual way. And they was basically having dry sex with each other right there in front of me. And I asked them, hey, that's wrong. They ain't supposed to be doing that. And they told me that they was just playing. They brought the girl over to the house with me after that and started putting her in the bed with me and had her doing the same stuff with me. The sex stuff, the incest stuff, the cousin, sister, brother type stuff. And it felt wrong. I ain't want to do none of that stuff. And then I had to learn the hard way. Sometimes grown people tell children that sex is just playing. Sometimes grown people tell children that incest is okay. But I was living in the state of Alabama, so they tried to raise me in a bad way. Once I started telling people about what they do and that I didn't like it and didn't want to be a part of it, they started beating me up and attacking me and breaking my leg at the house and busting my nose and breaking my arm and accusing me of being the bad person. Because it's like they was in a gang. If you tried to tell the police or tell somebody, they would beat us up and abuse us. And as children, they would get me locked up in a juvenile facility and spend all my money. Because all they had to do was just call a probation officer or a police officer that they was having sex with. And he would lock us up just because the lady was having sex with him and being his girlfriend. Whoever the lady was that I lived with. And so it was wrong. I feel real bad about the stuff that they did to me growing up and the stuff they tried to teach me. So I want all the children and grown people and everybody to know They say when you know better, you do better. So I'm just trying to do better. And I ain't part of no secret society. So anything that I know, it's okay for me to tell other people what I think and what I believe. Because I don't want any persons to be misled by me, because I'm not God, you not God, we not God, they not God. You understand? So when it come to my children, Apryl Johnson, Lord Jerry Johnson, and Trinity Johnson, don't be doing incest. Don't participate in the wrong kind of sexual activity. It don't matter if a grown person tell you, a person say they your sister, your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your mama, your daddy, your teacher, your preacher. It don't matter what these people call themselves. The wrong kind of sex is the wrong kind of sex. The wrong kind of behavior is the wrong kind of behavior. Do good and not bad. But that's your choice. But it won't be because of me if you do bad. It won't be because of me if you do the wrong kind of sex. Because I ain't never had a sexual relationship with Apryl Johnson. I ain't never had a sexual relationship with Lord Jerry Johnson. And I ain't never had a sexual relationship with Trinity Johnson. I don't want to. I don't plan on doing it. And I never will. Because I don't believe in having sex with my own children or with my own family members. And I want everybody to know that the Bible said all have sinned and fell short of the glory of God. So you ain't got to be ashamed if when you was a child, or shit when you was grown, if you participated in the wrong kind of sex. Because I didn't been part of the wrong kind of sex when they tried to put people in the bed with me as a child and tell me that it was just playing, and tell me that it was just a play cousin or kissing cousins and all this and all of that stuff. So if I'm not ashamed to say it, you ain't got to be ashamed to say it either. And that's why when I got married, it didn't bother me that they said that my girlfriend had been sexually involved with her own family members. Because the first thing I told her is that, yeah, they did the same thing in my family. Alabama, right? The incest capital of America. Everybody always said Alabama is an incest state, right? The first thing I told her was, yeah, they did the same thing in my family. They put me in the bed with a girl that they said was my cousin or my family member, and she was doing sex stuff with me and had me doing sex stuff with her. And that is why I don't want to be a part of them families, because I'm trying to get this incest mess off of me. I didn't want to die with the only sexual experiences that I ever had in my life being something that they can say was incest or family related. That's disgusting. So when I grew up and I got older, they would try to take me around this lady named Shun house or this lady named Helen house. And I just didn't want nothing to do with them people, because all they wanted to do was have sex with each other and lie about it and go to this place called Marvin's Room or Marvin House or Ruby House and all of that, and claim that they rich and famous in Tony Montana and all of this fake rap drug deal millionaire stunt, trying to act like they cool or whatever. And I ain't want no part of it, because them people would just be criminals. So that's why I left the state of Alabama and came to Georgia, because I just wanted to get away. I went to the first place that I can get to. So if Alabama is right next door to Georgia, I came to Georgia, And I didn't want to go to Atlanta because, everybody in Atlanta will be claiming that they're a rapper and stuff. So I came over here to Georgia so that I can get away from the criminals that was in the people that said that they was my family, and so that I can get away from the criminals that said they was Jeremy Williams' family. Because them people would be murderers and child abusers and drug dealers and be committing crimes. And I ain't want to get in trouble and go to jail or be a part of what they do. So I'm telling all my children and my family members, Don't get involved with them drug dealers and them gangs and them child molesters and them rapists and them people that say that they don't believe in God and just like having sex with each other. Because all this stuff is wrong. And them children be born sick and be having blood diseases and it don't be no cure for that stuff. So when you know better, do better. So y'all Trail, Gerald, and Trinity, I don't do that stuff that them other people do. And I don't think y'all should do this stuff either. It ain't my fault that the court started the court case, built the jail, threw me in it, and kept me away from y'all. And it ain't my fault that when the court said that I can see y'all, that them people in that house and in that neighborhood stopped y'all from coming to Georgia. Because I got somewhere to live, and I always had somewhere to live. And I think about you every day, and I'm going to pray for you, and I love you, and I respect you all. But you know, just because I'm nice to people, don't mean people be nice to me. And just because I love people, don't mean people love me. People tried to make me ashamed of loving my wife because they said she did incest. People tried to make my wife ashamed of me because they say a man did incest to me and said that I wasn't man enough. But just because somebody abused me, I ain't got to be ashamed because they abused me. Just because somebody beat me up, I ain't got to be ashamed because that means somebody abused me. The person that beat me up should be ashamed of abusing me. The person that molested or raped me should be ashamed of raping and molesting me. The people that stole my money and gave it to other people should be ashamed for taking a child's money. Because what kind of grown man go around driving a car that he driving with a little boy's money? What kind of grown man go around bragging that he stole another child's clothes? If that's cool to them, it ain't cool to me. You understand? So I love everybody. And I ain't nobody enemy. But it's people that claim that they my enemy. I don't know why. It's people that claim they don't love me. And I don't know why. Because it's not in my karma. It's not in my karma. Because I hadn't went around abusing anyone's children. I ain't got no child abuse charges. I ain't got no child neglect charges. I ain't got no rape, sexual assault, or sex offenses. But they do. They do. But hey, I guess that's what they do. But I don't.